1, 2, 3. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneur Life Podcast, your go-to podcast for all things entrepreneurship, accounting, and lifestyle. I'm your host, Katey Maddux, and today I have with me Gina Travelina. Gina is originally from Hungary, and everyone knows her as Gina Travelina. After living in Vienna, Austria for 8 years, working as a sales manager, she decided to quit her job and apply for the working holiday visa in Australia. Her plan was to travel and figure out a way to make money online with her partner, Eduardo, and together they run the company Credit to Millions, where they help entrepreneurs and immigrants learn how to leverage U.S. credit, how to get $100,000 to $300,000 in their first round of funding to invest in their businesses, and how to travel in luxury for a fraction of the cost. Yay, I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. My name is Gina, known as Gina Travelina. Everyone knows me like that because I love traveling and I wanted to have a catchy name for my social media. And yeah, that's how it all started.
Why don't you tell them, obviously you're from Hungary, but what did you do at the beginning? How did you get here? A little bit about kind of your background and yeah.
Yeah, so as Katey said, I used to work as sales manager in Vienna. And I knew that there's something more in life. And I always had the commit first, figure out later attitude.
So I love that. Commit first, figure it out later.
So I decided to quit my job and sell my furniture and applied for the working holiday visa to Australia. My plan was to travel and figure out how to work online. I didn't have a real plan for the first time in my life, but once you're committing to something, I always see that the universe, just gives you the signs, just gives you the path, and it will make everything easier. So on the way to Australia, I was 1 month in Thailand, where I met my partner, Eduardo.
I love this story. Tell us about, so you met Eduardo traveling. I feel like that's such a dream, right? To just meet your significant other when you're traveling. It's such a romantic love story. And then tell us how you met and then how that ended up becoming a business. It's such a cool story.
Yeah, so he was in the same situation. He also quit his job and he was traveling with a group. And he had actually an accident in Thailand where we had to have surgery. I'm not going into the full story right now. But he decided to stay by himself. And I was traveling with my best friend in Thailand. And yeah, we met. And then we traveled together. And after Thailand, I went to Australia. He went back. And we started to talk every day.
Was he going back to Canada?
Yes, first to Canada. And then he got an opportunity to start an Airbnb business in Miami. And we were talking every day. And he's like, actually, I would need some help. So we started to work together actually from day one.
Wow.
And yeah, I'm like, I'm leaving Australia, but then I'm a no return package. we will make it, figure it out.
I love that.
So I came to Miami. So our first business was an Airbnb business. And yeah, so we started to do that. And then COVID happened. So we started to move to the online world. And after that, we were helping entrepreneurs to teach how to grow their Instagram, how to be on social media. And yeah, so we worked from day one together. And then after we came to the topic to learn about credit, because we both love traveling. We're like, how can we travel more? In the US, they're the best travel credit cards. And for that, so we started to dig deeper and really realized that the American dream is real.
Yeah.
And by learning about credit and how to build businesses, we realized there's so much opportunity here because if you know the strategies, banks are giving you money. So we teach how to, we teach entrepreneurs how to get 100 to 300K in credit, which they can invest back into their business, in real estate, or other investments, and they can scale their business way quicker. So,
wow, I think that's like such a cool thing to learn about. You know, I feel like credit is kind of the thing that, especially as millennials, I think Gen Z, it's a little bit less taboo, but in millennials, it's like you didn't really want to tell people you had credit cards, right? So, but now it's so common. You know, I feel like growing up, it was like if you had credit cards and you had credit card debt, that was like something you kept to yourself. It was kind of shameful, you know, but I have actually learned more so from my friends who've come from other countries that like what credit can really do for you, what credit cards can do for you if you know how to manage them properly and if you know how to kind of work the system. So I think it's so cool what you guys teach. It helps so many people, especially in Miami where everybody's an immigrant, you know, where everybody comes from somewhere else and maybe their parents didn't have trust funds when they were born and they want to build a business. Like this is the perfect place for you guys.
yes, and I'm not gonna lie, it took time for me to understand that how important credit is, because coming from Europe, and Eduardo is originally from Colombia. He grew up in Colombia, but then he moved to Canada. But growing up in that environment where your parents say money is bad, you have to pay in cash, credit is bad, you know, it took me a while to understand. But once you understand the game, the system, it's way easier to go with it. So
I can totally see that. I'm like, my wheels are turning as you're talking. In terms of like you and Eduardo, what has been some learning? Like working with your partner can be difficult, especially when the partner is new. Like you guys work together from day one, whereas some people it's like, oh yeah, I've known my significant other for 5, 10, 20 years before we went into business together. But you guys like day one business partners and then, you know, like lovers and friends. What would you say are either some big learnings that you guys have had together or any tips you would have for other people who are like, I'm planning on working with my significant other, or I want to be able to build an empire with my significant other? What's that experience been like for you?
Yeah, so my tips are first, figure out the personality type. So for us, it was pretty obvious. Eduardo, there are different personality types. Like if we see that there are usually 4 different ones. So Eduardo is the dominant, the outgoing, the extroverted. So it was pretty obvious from day one that he's good in sales. He will be doing partnerships, and I'm very analytical, organized. So I became the CEO of the company from day one, doing all the back end. He's the front end of the company and I'm the back end. So my tip for everyone who wants to work with their partner or work with their partner already is to do a personality test first to see if it works out, because I think if there are 2 alphas in business, that could be hard, because there could be some fights going on, or like
the friction.
And my other tip would be to clarify who does what.
Yes.
For us, as I said, it was very obvious from the beginning, but just to clarify, like, okay, you're the front end, you're doing sales, you're responsible for this, and I'm responsible for operations, hiring, and everything else in the back end.
Wow. And you guys have been doing this for how many years together?
We are doing this almost 4 years now.
Wow. That's amazing. I'm like, I can't even imagine what it would be like to just like start from day one with somebody. You know, right now I'm like in the season of scaling my company. So I'm like bringing people on, but it was only all ever in my head. You know, it's like you have to have SOPs from day one when you're working with somebody else. You know, it's different. Like you have to have a playbook, and it can't just be all in your head. You constantly have to be communicating. This is what's in my head. This is what's in your head. Are they in alignment with each other? Do you agree?
Yes. And then it's also hard to separate relationship with business.
Yeah.
So if there's something happening in business and one of us gets frustrated, it can be hard to separate it. It's like, okay, it's for the business. It's not against you, actually.
So what would be like, how would you guys solve that or handle that or resolve it? Or like, let's say you have a date night, but you just had like a really hard day at work with each other. how do you turn that off so that you can go on a date and like enjoy your evening? How does that?
To be honest, we never turn business off.
Entrepreneur life.
Entrepreneur life. And we go to date nights and we talk about our vision, business plans. So it goes back to the to-dos. Okay, how do we get to that point? But you can write off dinners because we are business partners.
Yeah.
And we talk always about business.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to turn off because we build this life for ourselves, and if you enjoy what you're doing, it doesn't feel like business.
Right.
You're talking about your goals, your plans, your vision, and then somehow we always circle back to business.
Yeah. I can totally relate. It's like when you have a business mind, it never turns off. Everything that you do flows out of, like it flows through that business outlook of everything, And you guys have traveled all over the world. How many countries have you been to together? And what is your favorite place? What's your favorite trip you guys have done?
Ooh, we've been to so many countries together, probably around 20.
Okay.
I've been to 40 countries right now.
Amazing.
Our favorite place is Maldives and Dubai.
Yes.
When you understand, the credit game, and you can almost fly there for free or fraction of the cost, which is amazing. We made it possible, but it's a lot of work. It's also building your business because you get all these credit card points through spending to your business, right? And it's not just because we have some students who come to us and want to learn how to travel. But first, you need to build a business.
Right. I think that's such a key point. To have the points to travel, you have to first have something of value that's going to, one, add value to others, but also make you money. To spend money, like you need money, something to spend the money on that's not just like new cars, new house, new clothes, right? Like you need to be building something. And something of value.
Yeah, but we love that we have the freedom to work from anywhere. And during COVID, actually, we lived in Mexico. We also love Mexico because Canada was shut down. We were in Canada at the time. And we were like, where should we go? And Mexico was one of the places open. We're like, let's move to Mexico.
Let's move to Tulum.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we did.
And then you're right now doing a leadership program. What would you say to the person who's like, they started the business, but they've kind of gotten as far as they, like everything that they know to do, they've already done. And they're like, I want to get to the next level, but I don't have the cash. Would you say like use credit, use funding to get to a leadership program so that you can make more money? Or should you just like keep cranking until your business has more money and then use that?
To be honest, the best investment is always to invest in yourself. And credit is a great tool. We were always big on coaching and mentorships, and we have several business coaches. We work with several agencies, and that's the one thing, during COVID and recession is coming. The one thing what sticks with you during hard times are your skills.
Yeah.
So I would totally use a credit to do that. Because imagine you invest into a program, but you can duplicate your investment ROI in a short amount of time because there's someone who did that already and shows you the exact way how to do it. So
yeah, I love that. The best way to invest is in yourself. I totally agree. What would be, like, if you had one key takeaway of what you've learned so far and the one that you're doing, like your new coach that you have now, you were just telling me about, and one of our other friends did that same coaching program in Texas. What would you say is like, is there one thing you've learned there that you're implementing right now that you're like, this is really changing my life and my business, and that you'd be willing to share with us?
Yes, that I can be anything I want. And once you identify those limiting beliefs, what we have, and all the doubt coming to your mind, like that you can't do something, if you identify, just shift those. You can be anything you want.
Yeah.
I just like noticed in myself, I got so much more confident. And also because until now, the roles in our business was like Eduardo is the front, he's the face. But meanwhile, I'm also building my personal brand on social media and online. And, you know, my role models are Elena Cardone and Grant Cardone, or Alex Hormozi, Leila Hormozi. They work together, but they both have their personal brands.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the biggest takeaway is you can do anything, and just to be able to be confident and inspire others, you have to work on yourself first. So
Oh, that's so good. Yes, I love that. So shifting gears a little bit, I know that you've really grown a team, you know, like it's not just the two of you. You guys have done a lot of work on the back end with different types of people, from everything from like working with agencies to working with outsourced individuals to having contractors and now, you know, employees. Can you tell us a little bit about like what's that journey been like?
yes, for sure. So at the beginning, when everyone's starting off, everyone tend to wear all these different hats. You're doing operations, you're doing marketing.
Entrepreneur life.
Yes, exactly. You're doing sales. I was doing accounting at the beginning, you know. And then you realize my biggest learning was actually I started to take a lot of courses and mentorship during COVID. Mm-hmm. And we took, I think, Russell Brunson's funnel hacking challenge.
Funnels.
Yeah. And the biggest learning, what stuck to my mind, he said, find the who, not the how. And I'm like, oh, something clicked to me. I'm like, I don't need to do everything myself because that was the point at the beginning. And when you start thinking of hiring people, so there are two ways to go about it. First, the first one is to hire from the top. So you're looking for manager type of people, like executive assistant, or you start from the bottom. That's what we did, actually, started to hire VAs, virtual assistants from the Philippines. Mm-hmm. And actually, our first assistant was the jackpot. She knew website building, like SEO, every social media. We hired her to do messaging for us. Uh-huh. My tip would be to hire someone who can drive revenue to your business first. For example, we grew our company to 7 figures organically through Instagram, pretty much.
Wow.
Through to connecting with people, messaging.
Like DMing people who like your post type thing?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And we are just launching Facebook ads right now, relaunching it. But to learn how to use social media for your business, that's a big point. And yeah, so our VA did messaging, our website, and everything else. And that's how it all started. And there are some cool pages I want to mention. If everyone looking for VAs, my favorite one is Upwork.
I've used Upwork too.
Yeah, Upwork. There's Fiverr and online.ph. I feel like Fiverr, it's more like for short projects like design.
I had my logo designed on Fiverr.
Yeah.
My first logo. Yeah.
Actually, for logo, I have a good tip too. There's another site, Freelancer. You can do a competition there. So all these VAs will design your logo, and it's a competition. So you will pick the best one, and you just pay
for the one.
Brilliant. So you get all these different designs within 24 hours.
Yeah, wow.
So yeah, Freelancer for logo, and in general, I like Upwork. And obviously, what I learned during these years, it's very important to set expectations.
Yes.
In your job post, what are you expecting? Set KPIs. What are their tasks? Because if you don't do that, you get a bunch of applications and they won't be qualified. Hiring, it's not easy.
Right. I've learned that. I also hit the jackpot with my first hire. Evan's been a dream, but yes, it's definitely hard.
Yeah. Also, another tip, what I'm usually doing is hosting group assessment. So I'm picking the best applicants. I'm filtering through. I'm making sure they are available at the times I needed them whatever it is, 4 hours a day, half time. They have the qualifications, and then I host a group assessment where they have to introduce themselves, and I ask very specific questions.
Interesting.
It can be very long, but what I learned, it's like, okay, you have to introduce yourself in 1 or 2 minutes. That's it. It can shorten it. And then I'm asking them also personal questions. What are their goals? Finding out about their goals, the why they want to work with us. It's a key point. Because if they just work because they have to, it won't be the one.
Right. They're not going to be self-starters. They're not going to be motivated. You want them to share your vision. So are these people that you're interviewing in groups, are these VAs overseas and you're doing like a Zoom, or are these people here where you're having like everybody come to an office?
Everything we built is online. Okay. So we have a remote team. We do that with VAs. Now we are looking for more appointment setters and salespeople. So I do the same for them. I do a group assessment, and then I pick the best ones who make the best impression. The first impression is everything. In sales, in life, if you have this good energy and if you feel it, okay, I'm like, that's the person.
I like you.
Yeah.
And so how do you find these people? Like, I know you said you like Upwork, but you have also worked with agencies. And with an agency, it's like you hire the agency and the agency has their own VAs, or the agency connects you, like they interview on your behalf, or how does that work? And which of those two has been more successful for you, like hiring directly yourself or hiring an agency who's then brought you with a VA?
Yeah, towards the years, we worked with so many different agencies because we wanted to go the quicker route.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I help you to hire appointment setters or a sales team. And what we learned, yes, they can be good for short term, but if you think long term, it's always better to hire your own team.
Yeah.
But yeah, we work currently with an agency. It's called virtualassistants.io. They give you VAs, and they have also a bunch of templates for SOPs. So if someone looking for back end and VAs all together in a bundle, I would suggest them and just say, Gina sent you.
Here for the referrals.
Yeah.
Do you have like a code or anything that they should use? Is there a...
No, they just say like put Gina.
Okay. Gina Travelina.
Yeah, Gina Travelina.
With 2 L's, guys. Gina Travelina has 2 L's.
Thank you. Yes.
As someone who spells their name unusually, it's important to spell it for people.
Yes, thank you, Katey.
Yeah.
So yeah, we work with that agency, and then we work with another agency who helped us get more appointment setters. But I'm also looking actively myself in different Facebook groups, on LinkedIn or on Indeed. And yeah, as I said, I'm doing the same right now. I'm hosting group assessments almost every week now, just to build a big pool of people who we want to work with, even if it's for future evidence.
Oh, that's so good. Thinking ahead. And so not like all of a sudden I need somebody yesterday and where do I start? That's a great tip, I think, for people who are like, I know I'm going to need somebody this year. I don't need them tomorrow, but to just start the process, because it's not an overnight process, right? And at least for me, we run background checks. You know, there's other things, like there's multiple interviews, there's paperwork, setting up payroll, all of that. It's not like just because you want to hire somebody that they're going to start work tomorrow. So to get ahead of that process, to start doing kind of the group assessment thing, I think is brilliant. So that when you are ready to pull the trigger, you already have everything that you need to pull the trigger. It seems like a less stressful way to hire than what I've done in the past.
And also what I have to say, onboarding takes a while.
Ah, yes, it does.
Because people think, okay, I hire someone, I will have one call with them, they are onboarded. No. It doesn't work like that.
I wish.
Yeah. For
It can
example,
take a month, 2 months.
like for our appointment setters and sales, they need, I think, a month at least until they are really comfortable with our product, how we can help people and how they can find out the client's goals so that we can help them the best way. And yeah, it takes a while until they master those skills too. Yeah, and another tip actually towards hiring, I always prefer to hire someone who's energetic and has the commitment. I prefer that over expertise.
Yes, same. Hire for personality as opposed to skills, because you can teach skills.
Yes, but someone with expertise might be not coachable. So you want someone who's coachable and who's willing to learn and grow with you. So I prefer to look at the energy or the commitment and the attitude. I think it's really important.
Are there certain personality, like you had talked about with you and Eduardo specifically, like knowing personalities and having personality tests? When you're hiring, are you looking for a certain personality types? And do you guys do any sort of personality testing, or do you just kind of like figure it out as you go, like, oh, that person's probably a DI?
We don't do personality tests with them, but we ask during the group assessment specific questions, and we can see their personality. But I would say it depends on the role, because usually salespeople are more extroverted, are more dominant, and then analytical people are more in operations, very organized, operations, back end, customer success, or other roles. Yes, I would say the personality type is a big role in what type of department they are going, actually.
And do you find the people first and then figure out what role to put them in? Or do you say, I have a role and I'm trying to find a person to fit into that role?
Yeah, usually I make my job post very clear and I put the person into the role.
Okay.
I didn't have that in the past, that I had to put someone to a different role, but it's a good question.
I'm just curious. For me, at least in the beginning so far, I find the person and then I build the role around the person. But I think as you get big, it's easier to do that when you're small, right? Because right now it's like you're wearing every hat. And so you're just trying to give hats away. So it's like, okay, I have 10 hats to give away. This person is good for these skills. So I'm going to create the role so they can take on those 2 or 3 hats and take them off my plate, right? But like once you have a lot of people under you, it might be more of a case of, okay, we don't have 10 hats to fill. We only have 1 hat to fill. So we need to find somebody who fits to that one slot that we need filled, as opposed to like, oh, I love this person. Let me see what they can take off my plate. I think it has also to do with like where you're at in the scaling and hiring process. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I totally agree. And then once you grow, you will need kind of to fill the manager positions,
right?
Or like supervisors. For example, if you have 10 salespeople, then you need someone who supervise them, because it can be too much for the CEOs and COOs like me to manage everything. And yeah, that's how we feel like right now. We need kind of an executive assistant who can manage the team, because then right now they are coming directly to us.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I have Evan managing our VA, and I'm like, I just realized the other day, I was like, I don't think I've talked to my VA in like a month. I should probably set up a call with her just to check on her.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, Evan, can you tell Christiana this? Can you tell Christiana that? What'd she say about this? Like I don't have the time to manage, and I have a couple other VAs too. And they do like our social media and our reels and all of that, and I'm just like, I don't have the time or capacity to manage, the few people that I have. So I can't imagine having the time and capacity to manage like 20 people, like I just,
Yes, it can be.
I don't know how you do it.
It can be a lot, but we are, as I said, we are in scaling and hiring. So these are the next roles we are looking for.
So if you're watching this and you specialize in these things, So funny.
Also, we're looking for more appointment setters and salespeople. So
what is an appointment setter? What is that role for you?
So how it works is that they do messaging for us through all the social media channels. And messaging is a skill. It's not like, hey, buy my product.
Right.
No, it's connecting with people. Actually, value exchange, like, hey, finding out what are their goals. And then you send them a video or a lead magnet, whatever it is. And then they are like, okay, by the way, I could help you if you would like to book a call with our team. So they're booking appointments for our sales team. And then we find out how we can help them. We have the mentorship product, or we do done-for-you funding. And so how we can help them the best way.
Interesting. So this person would be like in social media, they're not just setting appointments, they're actually having communication and engaging with people first. And then the setting the appointment is like the mid step, the small piece to a bigger picture.
Yes. And they are also doing discovery calls. Discovery calls just to qualify the lead. Is that person really interested what we are doing? And then once they did that, they send it to the sales team.
Got it.
And they are on commission, so
if you need a job and you're good at these things, reach out to Gina Travelina. Her details will be in our bio. What would you say, like, do you have a top hire where you're like, this person was the best person we've hired and this was why?
I think, as I said, our first BA, but she got pregnant after. She was the best hire because she had so many skills. And what I liked about her is her problem-solving skills. Because I want people who can take the initiative, and they don't come to me with every little question like, hey, do we do this way or that way? I'm like,
yes.
Just give me two versions of the design or whatever, and let me choose, and that's it. Like, don't come to me with every little question.
Right.
Just take the initiative, or hey, I tried this. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I concur. Evan is like that. She's awesome. I'll be like, we need to buy new lights. I don't have time to research new lights. Find some. I had her do a presentation. You see all these lights in the room. If you're not in the room, obviously, but we have all these different lighting. And so I was like, we need new lighting for the podcast. And so I had her order a bunch of lights, and then we set them all up. And we have these ones here. They detach from the stand, so they're like lightsabers. So she was like taking the lightsabers and pointing to each light and being like, and these are the features and benefits of this light, and these are the features and benefits of this light. And we had a little presentation. I said, okay, I'll take a vote. We both voted, and then we picked it, you know. It was actually a really fun process, you know, but it's like, don't come to me with 1,000 questions. Like you said, come to me with, okay, I did some research. Here's my top 3 or my top 4. I vote this one because, and then let me just make a final decision and let's go on with our day.
I agree. Like that makes life so much easier when your team takes initiative and they research the project, and here it is, and just let us choose.
Yeah. We've done that so many times, so many things.
Yeah.
Even small things, like when we were trying to decide what would be our business phone number. I was like, do we get a new phone with a new phone line? Or do we get an app that can go to both of our phones so we can both see the messages? Or like, even, it's not just big things. It's little things too, you know? And it was like, okay, here's 4 different types of phone, whatever, you know, here's the features and benefits of each. I vote for this one, and then we picked one.
Yeah. Regarding phone, we use a CRM. It's pretty much like Go High Level. It's called Edit 360. So our team members can call from the system. And that helps a lot, because I think using a CRM, it's really important for your business just to have notes for every customer you have. Because once you have a new team member, they can just read the notes, and it will make life very easier. And you don't have to ask the customer, hey, so what are your goals again?
Yeah. Our goal in our business is to, not that this always works every time perfectly, but to only ever ask the customer one time. right? Everything the customer tells us, be it in a phone call, an email, or a text message, goes into their manual. And so we should never be asking them the same question twice. Once it's in the manual, like it's your job to know what's in the manual, you know? And so like if they already told us that they use this bank account for this, we don't want to be asking them again. You know, we should always know what they said.
Yeah, I totally agree. So it's the same with our systems. It's in the CRM. They told us already. So if we need to ask something else, then yes, schedule another call with the customer. But in other cases, yes, put everything into the CRM.
When you say CRM, I've had CRMs before. I've tried so many systems, but right now it's entrepreneurship is just a bunch of trial and error, honestly. But the system that we use now is specifically for accounting and lawyers. But I had HubSpot for a while, but I feel like I never really took advantage of all of the things that it did. But besides what you just mentioned, what would be like the highlights for you of why it's important to use a CRM?
So regarding CRM, as I said, it's to know what the customer wants. But for organization, we use actually Monday.com because it's really important that's where we put the task for our team members. You can put deadlines, you can put the Google Drive link. And and that's where we keep updated, like, okay, what's happening with this task? Are they going to, is someone working on it already? So then they move in progress, or is it done? Does it need a review? So you can move to all these stages. And it makes life easier as well because we communicate with our team in Slack. And in Slack, messages can be lost sometimes. So
yeah, we use Slack too.
So yeah, it's important to put task into Monday and then customer notes and anything else into the CRM. So.
Yeah, we have a similar system. We're using Lisio, it's specific for accountants, as our like back end team. And then we can text the client and send them push notifications out of Lisio. But we like Asana. I live and die Asana. Some of my VAs are on Basecamp, but I don't like Basecamp.
We use Asana too. I know one of our business coaches use Basecamp. I don't like Basecamp.
I don't like it, Basecamp. No. I mean, like, it's fine. We use it.
We use Slack sometimes. Slack and Monday.
Yeah. We love Asana. I'll be like, Evan, is it in Asana? If it's not in Asana, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly. That's really important for team members. So they have also more clarity. What are their tasks for the day? What are their deadlines? Because then it just gets lost and it's too unorganized.
Yeah.
And they also have to be aware of their KPIs. What are their goals for the day, for the week? And just putting everything into Monday or Asana.
What do you guys, in terms of like your KPIs for your team, I would say, what are some of their KPIs and how often do you revisit them? Is it like at the end of the week or at the end of the month, or how do you evaluate like if they're doing a good job, and is it only KPI based?
Yeah, for example, it depends on the role too, again, but appointment setters, sales, they have to do a certain amount of messaging per day, and they have to book ideally. So they say a good messenger is booking every 2 hours. It's a really good one appointment, but usually every 4 hours, one. So if they work half time, they should be able to book 5 appointments per week. And tracking is really important for every role, but specifically for those ones, because for you to be able to get better, you have to be aware of your numbers. A good salesperson knows their numbers. So because you have to be aware, okay, I have to send 100 messages to be able to book, 10
What's
appointments.
your conversion rate?
Yeah. It's around 10% because a lot of people won't reply. So let's say 10 appointments, and then let's say they book with the sales team, and usually it's around 30% closing rate. So for you to be able to do 3 sales, you have to send at least 100 messages.
Right. That reminds me of being my first job. I don't know if you know this company. It's called Cutco. Have you heard of it?
Yes.
The knives?
Yes.
So it was my first job out of high school, and I got it when I was 18, and that's how I learned about conversions. I ended up being one of the top 50 reps in my state, and so I was going to all these different conferences and, whatever, getting...
Eduardo worked at Cutco.
He did?
That was his first job in Canada too.
Because they teach you so much about sales,
Yeah.
and they teach you so much. Like if you want to sell, 5 packs of the homemaker, which was like their basic set, right? Which is about $1,000. If you want to sell 5 homemakers in a week, you need to do this many calls, have this many appointments. This is your conversion, right? And they would teach you how to back into that. And I learned that when I was 18, And so I feel like Cutco's kind of like a network marketing. It's not MLM because there's no people under you, But in terms of like, they teach you the skills that you need to know to be good at sales. And so having these like teenage jobs where you're in companies that really prioritize KPIs, they prioritize personal development, they prioritize sales, like that's the best thing you can do for a teenager is connect them into a role of either network marketing or some sort of sales company where they get this sales baseline skill set really young because it can take you anywhere.
Yeah, I totally agree. Also, I was working in sales. I was sales manager in a fitness club. Like it was a luxury. They had like classes, they had pool and everything. And my personality, it's not the sales type, but I think everyone should learn sales.
Yes.
If you're young or if you're just starting out, to learn how to sell, because you need to sell yourself every day.
Yeah.
Even
everything
picking
is sales.
a partner.
Yes.
Like you have to pick up your partner and you have to present yourself the way, going to the bank even, or like finding a business partner. Everything is sales.
Yeah.
Finding new friends. Are you making a good first impression? So yeah, if you are listening to this and starting out, learn sales first.
Yes. And do you feel like do you consider yourself an introvert?
Yes.
If you're, for somebody who's like an introvert, I shouldn't say introvert because introvert's like how you recharge, not your personality. And so many people confuse that. Like I'm an introvert and people think I'm an extrovert because I'm social, but I recharge alone. I need alone time every day. And if I don't have it, like I get really stressed and I get an attitude with people, like it's more recharging. So I would say for people who are more maybe shy or less social, what would you say were some things that you learned to help you with sales that wasn't kind of your natural inclination?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I used to say I'm an introvert. And this year I told myself I won't say introvert anymore.
Yeah.
Because I can be an extrovert if I want to.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm more shy. But my tip would be if you're introvert, more shy, however we call it, to build your personal brand. Just show up online. You never know who's watching.
Yeah.
Everybody's watching.
Everybody's watching.
Yes. And building an online presence, personal brand, obviously it's not easy for people who are more shy or introverts, but everything is practice.
Yeah.
You just have to do the reps.
Yes. That's such a good nugget. Like everything is practice. You just have to do the reps. And I think, especially when it comes to onboarding new clients, for me, that was something that like presenting the proposal and telling them, hey, you're going to owe us $6,000. It used to be really stressful for me. But after doing it so many times successfully, you get that confidence because you're like, what I'm doing works. It makes sense to people. They see value in it. And the more you do it, the less stressful it is because you know that you're actually adding value and people are seeing value in it. And the same goes with social media and videos. Like the more you do them, the more responses that you get and the more views you get, you're like, oh, people actually like this. People actually watch this. And it becomes easier to do because your confidence is boosted. Do you agree?
I agree. And yeah, I used to think, like 4 years ago, I would never think I would be sitting in a podcast, or like doing videos.
Yeah.
But once you understand, it's not about you. It's about helping people.
Yeah.
You can inspire more people by showing up and showing them what they can do.
I was on a call last week where somebody said, people have it backwards. They think like taking up space takes space from other people, but it's actually the opposite. The more you show up and the more space you take up, it actually gives other people permission to take up space too. Like the more vulnerable you are, the more vulnerable people watching you want to be. And the more confident you are, the more people, most people, obviously there's going to be like haters, but like the more other people are like, she's confident, I can be confident. She can do it, I can do it. And it's like, it's the opposite of what people think it is. The more space you take up, the more you give other people permission to take up space too.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because, we have like those voices in our head, like, oh, like the fears, fear of judgment, fear of failure. And once you overcome them, it's like, yeah, it's not about you. It's like you overcome your fears. First, it gives more confidence into your confidence bucket, right?
Yeah.
And once you do it like several times over and over again, it will be way easier.
I think that's such a good nugget, such a good point. What would you say, just kind of wrapping up here, if you had like one thing, if people who are watching, entrepreneurs starting their business either in the hiring field or just in whatever, what would be like your one tip they could implement today that would change their business or change their operations?
I would say if you're thinking to start a business, just do it now. Imperfect action is always better than no action. And I used to be a perfectionist, and I'm like, okay, I will start when? Or I will start when I have perfect camera gear, whatever. No, you should be starting today. So this is your sign. If you're thinking a long time to start a new business, hire a new person, and just do it imperfecly.
My word of the year for 2023 is done is better than perfect, because I also was a perfectionist.
I love it.
And Evan will remind me, she'll be like, Katie, I know it's not perfect, but what you said is done is better than perfect. So shouldn't we just like push it out? I'm like, yeah. Just get it out.
It's the same. I started to do videos like two years ago, pretty much, just with grabbing my phone. No camera. We have a camera, but for me, it's too complicated. I want it simple. I want to get it out. And guess what? I get positive feedback.
Yeah.
And
I love your videos. I comment on all of them.
Thank you. And people are coming to me, that's what I needed to hear today. I'm like, oh, really? Thank you.
Yeah. And the positive feedback also, like, it's like, oh, people like this. This is adding value, which that's all we're after, right? As like entrepreneurs, of course, there are people who are out there just to make money. But I think more often than not, people start businesses to help other people.
Exactly. And like, to solve a problem.
To add value to others. And I think more people than what oftentimes get credit for is more people are out there to help you than you think. Like, of course, everybody wants to make money and everybody needs to pay their bills. But if they started a business, they probably have a heart to help. Or they wouldn't have started a business. They would have just gotten a job. If they just wanted money, they would have just gotten a job. Or they would have just done real estate investing or something that doesn't involve actually helping. Not to say that real estate investing doesn't help people, but you know what I mean? Like, if you have a service-based business, you probably have a heart to help people, or you wouldn't have gone into that field, because service-based businesses are service-based. You're working with people, right?
Exactly. So. And my mission is also to inspire more people to start their own business. My word of the year is impact. Yeah. So to be able to be more impactful and inspiring, I have to show up and give the tips and help them. Because it's not about me anymore.
Right.
It's about them.
Right. Yes. Oh, I love that so much. Well, it's been such a joy having you. Thank you so much for coming. I've even learned so much just being on this podcast with you. And where can people find you?
Thank you so much for having me. You can find me under Gina Travelina with double L on Instagram, on TikTok, and on YouTube.
Do you have a website?
Yes. So it's credit2 with the number 2 millions. And millions with a Z at the end.com.
Yes, make sure you add the Z or you won't find their website. Well, thanks so much for being here. It's been a great day. And just want to remind you, remember, today's a great day to start a business. We'll see you next time.